Go and look at this. Okay, so once again, what we're doing is we're going to go over a question from last night's homework. Then we're going to let you do one from today's sheet. And we'll do that for all the word problems. And that'll take most of the period. And then after that, you can work on the part one. And I will give you very quick verbal answers to yesterday's part one. Okay, solve the following equation for J. That means, as we just said a minute ago, this word 4J, or this phrase 4J, is a very important phrase. It means that we have to get J alone. We have to get J by itself. Now, the reason J is not by itself right now is there's a 2 there, and there's a minus K. Now, solving equations is all about inverses or opposites. So if I gave you this equation, 10 equals 2J minus 4, wouldn't your first step be to do plus 4? Right? Is everybody with me on that? Okay. So as weird as it looks, my first step here is to do plus K. Now over here, I actually figure out what 10 plus 4 equals. It's 14. I can't do that here. T plus K is whatever it is, so I just write T plus K. Okay? Now, in the next step, I would divide by 2 over an equation with all numbers. So over here, it was T plus K equals 2J. I still divide by 2. That doesn't change. So I get J equals, I got J by itself now, T plus K over 2. Okay? All right, I need you to do that question, number 15, on today's sheet. So yeah. What? Where'd I get what? You gotta help me here. Tell me a letter. The 2? It was right here. Okay? Now, very quietly, no noise. Get started. You do sheet B, number 15, and in about 45 seconds, I will put that up on the board. Okay?
Turn up. You're on board.
Come on.
Wait, what's my test?
I won't give it back to you for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Not until every kid has a chance to get it all done.
Oh.
Okay, so we said try 2B, the test from the question from test 2B. All right, I got it. This mode. And gotta find question number 15. Here we go. Okay. Question number 15. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. Solve the equation for M. When you see the words that say solve for M, what does that tell you?
To get M by itself.
Get M by itself. For M. Get M by itself. So my first step, like before, is to subtract the B, and I get Y minus B equals MX. Is the X by itself yet? No. Why is it not by itself? Rach, why is that X not by itself? Rach, just look at it. There's a letter next to it. What's the letter next to it? Good. Now, what does MX mean? ¿Qué es una operación? What operation? Is it add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Spencer? It's what? Multiply. Good. Now, what's the opposite, Rach, of multiply? The inverse operation of multiply?
Adding?
No. Adding and subtracting are opposites. What's the opposite of multiply?
Division?
That's right. So I just divide by M. And there's my answer. Y minus B over M equals X. Are we good? Ethan, what are we hung up on here? All right, well, look. Ethan, I know that it's kind of new here. If I wrote this, what would your first step be? I'm sorry? Well, it does equal 3, but how did you know that was the answer? You just kind of know numbers and plugged it in your head? Okay. That works when numbers are simple and easy. If I did this one, how's that going to work? We're going to have a problem, agree? So what we have to have is a technique that allows us to always get this right. You like basketball? If you play a third grader, do you need to play careful and do things right, or are you just gonna beat the third grader? I sure hope so, okay? Now, if you go play Michael Jordan, are you gonna have to do things right to stay in that game? Yeah, I think so. So we're trying to get you ready for Michael Jordan here.
Don't call me all day.
Now, to do that, the first thing I notice is that I always want to attack where it says plus or minus. That says +1, I want to do -1. Die, 9, because 10 minus 1 is 9, equals 3x. Likewise, over here, it said plus b. So like it said +1 there and I did -1, this says plus b, I do minus b. So I get y minus b, because I can't figure that out. See, I could do 10 minus 1. 10 minus 1 is 9. You ever do y minus b in your life? When you were a little kid and you made up flashcards for your number facts, did you do one for y minus b? No, nobody knows what y minus b is. So it is what it is. We just put y minus b. Now, over here, 3x means 3 times x. I need to do the opposite, which is to divide. So likewise, it says mx here, so I do the opposite, which is 2 divide. And that's why I get y minus b over there. Okay. All right, so that's a question worth 5 points on tomorrow's test. And you know, so much of the first part of the test we've done so many times that I do think that we're in great shape with the first part, or we should be, but I'm not as sure as the second part. So here's last night's sheet number 16 for the second part. Let's go through this one. Ready? It's a word problem. Word problems mean I want to read it once, and then I want to use a piece, cross it out, use a piece, cross it out, use a piece, cross it out, as many times as I have to. So it says 2 more than 4 times a number is 34. Find the number. So now I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to find the easiest thing in there to translate. And I know it probably seems silly, but the easiest thing in here, Chris, head up, bud. The easiest thing in here is the is 34 part. I'm just going to write equals 34. I can do that. That's not hard. Everybody should be able to do that. Rach, head in the game. Now, the next part, not quite so easy, but not killer hard. It says this phrase, more than. And with more than and less than, there's something we're always supposed to remember. What are we always supposed to remember with more than and less than? What's that? Well, okay, that's one thing for sure. This one is add. But there's one other thing you have to remember. That Bruce Springsteen song. Now, what did that Bruce Springsteen song, The Ghost of Tom Jones, say?
The first.
Shall be last, and the last shall be first. And for the record, that Springsteen's quoting the Bible when he said that. It's not something he made up, so I don't want to make you think he's writing scripture now. But more than is add, and 2 is first, so it's got to go last, and 4 times is last, so it's got to go first. 4n plus 2 is equal to 34. Now, once I have that written, I can start to solve it. Ethan, this now is like the one we just used as an example before, the 3x plus 1 equals 10. This says plus 2. Ethan, what should I do next? It says add. You have to do inverses. What's the opposite of add? What's the opposite of add?
Oh, subtract.
That's right. minus 2 minus 2. Die. I didn't touch the 4n. That equals 32. Am I done yet? No. It says 4n. That means 4 times n. What's the opposite of 4 times n, Rach? Division. So I'm going to divide both by 4. 32 divided by 4 is 8. And that's my correct answer. Okay? So now what I'm going to do, are there any questions about this? Okay. Now let's go to today's sheet, sheet B, and have you do this question, number 16. Okay? Try number 16. It's the same exact one as is on your sheet, so you don't have to look up at the board yet if you don't want to. Bless you. Come on. Can we, Chris, face forward, right? Okay, another 20 seconds or so. Okay, so now, let me just scroll this up a little bit. It says, 2 more than 5 times a number is 42. So, oh no, I did that one, didn't I? Oh no, we did it on the other one, okay. So, let's take a look at this. Somebody finds something that they can easily translate from the words to the math. Tom?
Equals 42.
Equals 42, good. That's really simple, right there, nice. Now, what's something else that they can translate here? I want somebody who hasn't helped me yet. Diana, what's something in there that you know what it means?
5 times.
5 times a number. How do I write 5 times a number?
5 times.
Good. So over here in my mind, I got a 5n. I don't want to quite use it yet, but it's there. We're waiting to use it. Can we stop? All right, so what else can you do? So, Spencer?
2 more.
All right, so more than. What do you know about more than? There's something very important to keep in mind with that. It is adding, good, but there's something else that's a little trickier that we have to keep in mind.
3 plus 3.
Mm-mm.
I mean plus.
Mm-mm. Something to always keep in mind. You already answered this once. I want somebody else. Come on, more than. What do you always have to remember about more than and less than? Go ahead.
The first shall be last and the last shall
That's
be
right. First shall be last shall be first. So it says 2 here, so that goes last. It says 5n here, so that goes first. And now I solve the equation. And the actual solving should be pretty simple. Minus 2, die.
Aye.
5n is 40, divide by 5, n is 8. And I should have crossed that out when I used it. Okay? That more than and less than switching order thing is very, very, very important. It will be on your state test. It will be on probably half the tests you have the rest of the year. It will be on your final exam. It always is. Okay. Any questions on number 16? Now, let me ask you a question. Does anybody believe that we have done anything so hard that they can't at least get partial credit on the questions? You should be able to get partial, if not full, but partial for sure. What about, how many people here feel like if they get, when they get this question, not if, when they get a question like this tomorrow, they think they can get it fully right? Okay, that's what we're looking for. Okay. So now, let's go to yesterday's sheet, number 17. The sum of 3 consecutive even integers, God bless, is 42. Find the largest integer. Okay, somebody tell me something on here that is important that I need. Go ahead.
Equals 42.
Equals 42, good. What else is important? Rich?
Well, like our 3 numbers.
3 consecutive even integers. So I'm going to go off to the side here. I'm going to write first consecutive even integer. Then I'll do second. And those marks just mean, they're called ditto marks. They mean just the same thing as above it. Okay. What's the first one always going to be when you don't know what it is? Everybody said? X and whatever. I'm going to go with n. Now, if I go from one even integer to the next even integer, how much did I have to go up by? Everybody?
1.
No. 2. If I go from one integer to the next integer, it's 1. If I go from 1 to the even, I have to skip the odd, get to the even. So that's n plus 2. And then what if I go to the next one after that? N plus 4. So now I did the 3 consecutive even integers. But then it says the what? Because I didn't use this yet. See, it doesn't have a line through it right here. I didn't use this yet. The what? Sum. What's sum mean? Rachel, head in the game here, right? Come on. Sum means what? Add. So I'm going to do the first one plus the second one plus the third one. First one plus second one plus third one is 42. Now, is this a same side situation or an opposite side situation? Same side. So if I have one n and another n and another n, how many n's do I have?
3n.
3n. And if I have a positive 2 and a positive 4, I have a positive 6 equals 42. Now I can run with it. Minus 6, die. 3n is 36, divide by 3. N is 12. Did I answer the question? Bless you. No. Tomorrow, this is going to be worth 5 points. If you get this far, you've got 4 points out of 5. So you are doing well, but not perfect yet. N is 12. This guy's 14. This guy's 16. 16 is the largest integer. Okay? Yes?
When it says find the largest, do you want us to circle it? Like
I
the
want it to
answer?
be pretty obvious to me which one it is. Like, you could go up here and write 16 nice and big, that would be fine too. Every now and then, on somebody's paper, they have like all of this wonderful scratch work, and then like, in the middle of all the scratch work, they'll write 16. How the heck am I supposed to know that that's where your answer is, you know what I mean? So put it where it's obvious, where even an idiot teacher like me can see that that is the answer. Okay. Well, that's what she had originally said, do you have to circle it? Circling is the best way, but if you didn't circle it, I wouldn't take points off, as long as it's obvious to me which one it is. All right, so now you try the one on test 2B, today's test. Go ahead.
Bruh.
Now, keep in mind, this is not 3 consecutive even, it's just 3 consecutive. That makes it a little bit different, okay?
Are we gonna go over this one?
We're gonna go over all the word problems. And then after that, we're gonna turn you loose to work on some stuff. Say, under a minute left. Diana, you're right there. Okay. Now, if you notice, whenever I do these questions, I'm very relaxed. I don't allow myself, Stephen, to get uptight, okay? I just want to read the question once, which you already did, and I want to find a piece of that information, and I want to use it, little by little, whatever I know, okay? Rach, take a look at that and tell me something in there that you read that you know what to do with.
It says 3 less than plus recommended.
Okay, what part of that do you know something about?
That there's a number 3.
Actually, we're doing this one, number 17.
3 consecutive integers.
Okay, when it says 3 consecutive integers, what do you know about that?
There's 3 integers.
Good, and they are what? What does consecutive mean? Somebody help Rach out. What's consecutive mean? Max? Yeah, one right after another. For instance, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15. Those are all consecutive integers, 3 in a row. Okay? Now, somebody find something in there that they can use to write the equation. Stephen?
Integer is 42.
Okay, so they equal 42. Excellent. Okay, that's nice and easy. Everybody in the room should be able to do that, right? All right, so now find something else in there that we have to, all we gotta do is look at stuff that's not crossed out. If it's not crossed out, we gotta use it. Caitlin, what's one thing in there that's not crossed out that you can use? There's some of them, so that means eventually I'm going to what? Add them. Okay, so that's in the back of my mind. I'll get to that eventually. I'm not ready yet. Diana, what else do I know?
There's 3 coming.
3 consecutive, good. So I'll come over here, and I'll write first consecutive integer, second consecutive integer, third consecutive integer. You know, when I was a kid, I went to work in Maine, one of the best summers of my life. My math teacher, my 10th grade math teacher, a guy named Mr. Case, he owned a camp in Bridgeton, Maine. And he asked me to come work for him for the summer. My job was to work in the kitchens for him. The summer was 42 days long, 6 weeks. I got 2 days off. And he said that if I worked for him, I would make $400. But I got complete use of the facilities. I could do whatever I wanted. Had its own laundry service. I could eat all the food I wanted to. And I had everything that I would want. Plus, there was great fishing in the lake, and I love fishing. So I took him up on his job. Myself and this friend named Tom Cast. Now, within the first 3 days up there, Tom started messing up and screwing up. And the boss of the kitchen, this guy Mark, he fired Tom. And I remember Mark turning around looking at me and with the snottiest look on his face, the meanest look you can imagine, he said, "Oh, what? Do you want to go home with him too and be a little baby, or do you take pride in your work?" And I thought about it, and I said, you know what? My work is a representation of me. When people see my work, they see me. If my work looks good, we're in. If it doesn't look good, it's not. My older son, Bobby, takes a lot of pride in his work. He does a really good job, and he does a lot of carpentry when it's not fishing season. And Mr. Golden will hire him all the time to work for him because he says, your son has a great work ethic. He takes pride in his work. He likes to show people what a great job he did. Likewise, when I do a problem like this, if I'm you sitting in my class, obviously you don't have a job swinging a hammer right now, and you don't have a job as an adult. Your job is your education. And I hope that you want to show people pride in your work, that there's nothing that you can't, you might not be perfect, and I don't expect you to be perfect. No one should ever expect you to be perfect. But that when we do something in class like is 42, that every person in this room can write equals 42. That is not a difficult thing to do. And when you see 3 consecutive integers, you can set it up exactly like Diana just did. Now, what's the first consecutive integer always going to be? N or x. So now it's consecutive integer, not even or odd, so what's the next one going to be? N plus 1, and then the last one?
N plus 2.
N plus 2. Now, I can cross this piece off. When I hand a test into a teacher, it is a representation of who I am. It's saying, this is my character. This is how I prepared for this examination. This is the kind of person I am. And when you adopt that attitude for everything, you're going to be really successful at whatever you choose to do as you get older. When you get older, you get to pick what you do. Right now, you have to learn a little of everything because you're not ready to make that decision. Now, when you do that and people see pride in your work, they will hire you exactly the same way Mr. Golden will look at me and say, you go ask him. He tells me this all the time. I'll say, yeah, my son's not working right now, or he's not out on party boats right now. He goes, oh, I need help. Tell him, give me a call. He says it all the time because he knows he'll get a fair day's work out of Bobby. Now, let's go back to what Caitlin said. She said the sum. And what does sum mean? Add. So I'm going to now use the sum part. I'm going to add the first one, which is there, plus the second one, which is there, plus the third one, which is there. So I added them, and I get 42. Now, if you notice, I've crossed out everything they told me except the directions. Once I've crossed out everything except the directions, it means now I'm ready to do my work. Is this a same side situation or an opposite side situation? Same side. So 1 n, 2 n, 3 n's. Now, what's a 1 and a 2? 3. So 3n plus 3 is 42. Now, this is business as usual. I've seen a lot of these things, and I'm good at them. As are you. Divide by 3, n is 13. Is that the answer?
No.
No. How many points do you have so far?
4.
4 out of 5. What do you have to do to get that last point?
Get the largest interior.
Yeah, you get the largest one, right. This is 14, 15, and then 16, and it is smart to put a circle around 16. So you're saying, look, 14's there, 15's there, but the real answer is 16. Any questions on that? Yes.
Wouldn't it be 15?
No, it says the largest. The largest integer is the biggest integer.
Yeah, but it would be 13.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I
13.
skipped in my head. I'm sorry, that should be 13,
I felt so
14, 15. Yo muy malo. Gracias.
I'm about to cry.
Oh, no, I make mistakes all the time. I never get mad at myself for mistakes. All I care about is my work ethic and how hard I do it. If I do that, it's okay. Things are gonna be good. Yeah. No. Now, anything else on number 17? All right. Rach, we're gonna go over number 18. Why don't you start working on the number 18 for the next one? You finished it already? Okay, then you can take the pass.
Oh, so.
Okay. Okay, so. This is last night's number 18. Ready? One number is 2 less than twice another number. If the sum of the numbers is 40, find both numbers. I read it here, I read it here, and I read it in the sense that one number and another number. Every one of those lines tell me there's how many numbers? 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over here and write first number and
Second number.
second number. What do I always let the first one be?
And
X. X or N, I don't care, whatever you want to use.
We'll just say it there.
All right, so now we can get to work here. One number is 2 less than twice another number. How do I work with that? 1 less than twice another number. Go ahead.
2x minus
2x minus what?
3.
Why 3?
Never mind, I'm doing minus.
I like the 2x. I like the minus because, right, less than, last shall be
Two.
first, first shall be last. What's the number?
2.
2.
I'm doing this.
Okay, so I can now cross this out. I love when I grade papers and I see kids doing word problems and crossing it out as they use it. Because to me, it's stopping the math block we spoke about. It means you're going to be getting something down there. All right, if the sum of the numbers is 40, somebody tell me something from there they can use to my advantage. Anthony, what's something in there we can use? Sum of the numbers is 40.
40.
Okay, so we're going to write equals 40. Okay, so I'll cross that out. Oh, what didn't I use yet? It's right there. Right there in front of me. What does it say? If the what? Sum. Ishi! What's sum? Plus. I'm going to add the first one, which is x, plus the second one, which is 2x minus 2. Now I did the sum of the numbers is 40. The only words left say, find both numbers. As soon as I read that, I get to work. So, same side situation, 3x minus 2 is 40, plus 2, plus 2, die, 3x is 42, divide by 3, x is 14. Am I done? No, because it says to find what?
Both numbers.
Both numbers. So 14, and then I got to throw a 14 in here. 2 times 14. Anybody know that real quick off the top of their head? 28, good. Minus 2 is? What's 28 minus 2? 26. Good. And by the way, don't they add up to 40? 14 and 26? I love that about word problems, that when it's done, I can do what they said and see if it actually checks itself out. Okay, you guys do number 18 on the other sheet. God, I wish mine actually cracked. Denise typed them in. Question? No, we're going to go over this in about 30 seconds. Okay, so I don't care if you write first number, second number, one number, other number, whatever, it doesn't make a difference. Bottom line is, the whole question talks about both numbers, both numbers, both numbers. I always let the first one be n or x. Last time I used x, this time I'll use n. It makes no difference. What's the other number?
2 and minus
Okay, 2n minus 3. Good. So I'm going to cross that right out. Ethan, what's the next key word in the sentence? Pick anything in there that's important that you can use. I'm sorry? Well, we're going to get to the 3n later, but what I want you to do now is read this sentence. If the sum of the numbers is 9, and tell me something in there that's important that you can use in the next step. Mr. Tello, help him out. Chris, man, you've been doing a really good job, but when you're going out like this, you don't get better. You want to keep getting better. Go ahead. Equals 9, because it says the sum of the numbers is 9, so I can cross that out. And Ethan, what really helps on your paper is if you're doing the crossouts exactly like I'm doing, you keep whittling the question down, and piece by piece, it kind of leaves you with what you have to write down a conclusion from. Okay, now the only thing left says if the sum of the numbers. So what does that mean, sum of the numbers? Elena, what's sum of the numbers? Adding the numbers. So here's my first number, it's n. I'm going to add the second number, which is 2n minus 3. Now, let me cross that out. I've crossed out everything except these 3 words. Find both numbers. When you get to the point where the only thing left is the directions, Rach, that means time to solve the problem. Is this a same side situation or an opposite side? Same side. So that makes it 1n plus 2n is 3n, minus 3 is 9. Add 3. Die. 3n is 12. Divide by 3. N is 4. All done! Right? No, why not?
You have to find both numbers.
Got to find the other number. So this guy's 4, and this is 2 times 4 is 8, minus 5 is 3, and guess what? Their sum is 9, so it works perfectly. Now, if you don't try to write the equation, this step right here, if you don't try and use things and cross things out, and you never get to that step, you can't get any more points on the equation. You're going to get 0 out of 5. But even if you mess this equation up, if from here forward you do it correctly, you're either going to get 2 points out of 5 or 3 points out of 5, which is a nice start. So you're at least going to get something. We have 6 word problems tomorrow. If out of the 6 questions you can get 2 or 3 of them right and partial credit on all the others, you're still going to get a good grade. But if you can't get partial credit on the others, your grade is going to take a beating. Now, let's go to the last problem from yesterday's sheet. And it says, what is the area of a rectangle whose length is 1 more than 3 times the width and whose perimeter is 74? Now, we said to you the other day that as soon as you read about a problem and it tells you about a shape, draw that shape. So I can cross out the word rectangle. Length is 1 more than 3 times the width. I don't know what the width is, so I'm going to call it W. How do you write 1 more than, key phrase there, 3 times the width? How do I write that? 1 more than 3 times the width. If we can get this, we're going to be rocking and rolling. Stephen?
1 plus W.
Not 1 plus W. Okay, Chris?
3.
Keep.
W plus 3.
3W plus
1.
1. 3W plus 1. Now, I want to mention something here. Let's say Chris wrote 3W plus 3. He's still getting almost all of the partial credit, okay? So it's not like he would get beat up because he makes that one mistake. He would get credit for what part of what he said is right, more so than points off. So he's gaining points. Even if they're not full points, he's gaining some points. Leave it. Now, if this is W, this guy's W, and this guy is 3W plus 1. Now what we need to do is add them up and set them equal to 74, because it says the perimeter is 74. 1W, 4W, 5W, 8W, plus 2 is 74, and then I solve it, and I come out with W. W is equal to 9, okay? So you try the one that's on, and then it wants the area, So we gotta do the length times the width, and then we can get the area and you can see what it is, all right? Hello?
I'm not fond of them.
I'm so confused.
Okay, bye. Selena, early release.
Oh, all that for that.
Okay, so again, if we work this out, we minus 2, we divide by 8. Minus 2, God, I hate that phone, but I got great news today. I was told that on Monday, they're gonna put the phone up on my desk, so I don't have to deal with that anymore. Divide by 8, W is 9, so this guy is 9, and then 3 times 9 is 27, plus 1 is 28. So the width is 9, the length is 28, but, notice, we crossed all this stuff out. It says, what's the area? How do I find the area of a rectangle? Length times width. So I'm gonna do 28 times 9. And that would work out to 180 and 72, which is 252.
I knew that.
Okay, what I want you to do now, turn to a person sitting around you. Do the one from today's sheet that's on the area. Work together on it. Go.
Okay, okay, so we need to go on.
Not these.
252 is the answer.
So I put that right here. Is that gonna be on the test?
Okay, come on, get to work. Yeah, it's absolutely gonna be.
Using.
3 times.
Okay, get going.
This is-